Welcome back to Mangastorian. Now that we've officially hit 300, we wanted to take a quick breather, but that was because of a holiday, and now it is time to bring you more Berserk. In our last video, we watched as Griffith made his stand against Emperor Ganishka at the gates of Windham Castle. As Griffith's demon squads moved in, many of the humans questioned whether it was the right thing to do, fighting with monsters against monsters. But just before the war could set in, Sonya led a charge telling everyone that it doesn't matter what these monsters look like, they are fighting for the Band of the Hawk. As the humans start to rally together, they step into the fray, and Irvine tells Sonya, who is riding in his apostle form, that she should withdraw from this battle. She looks at him and smiles, telling him, nope. And Irvine says that if that's the case, she'd best keep her head down and hang on. She happily hums to herself as she latches onto his wolf body, and then he leaps over the crowds and in front of everyone. Suddenly a fleshy string appears between the wolf's antennas, and the hair on Irvine's arms begin to weave together. As he pulls back at a giant bowstring, the hair on his arm creates a large arrow, the length of his entire body. That arrow is released, shooting off into Ganishka's monsters, and as it hits, it splinters inside of the monster's body. Irvine then jumps on top of the monster and begins to pull back several more arrows, shooting them into the next wave of Ganishka monsters. The humans cheer for Irvine as the monsters stop moving, and with the support of the humans, Sonya holds out her arm, telling everyone to advance forward. Concerns of the monsters and humans quickly fade as one incident took place, and an airborne monster went to attack one of the Ganishka monsters. But it was then pulled out of the air and thrown to the ground as it prepared itself for the worst. But at the very last minute, the humans charge into the defense of the monster, and they start attacking the Ganishka monster to avert its focus. As the humans themselves begin to get overwhelmed, the airborne monster says, "Humans die for us." And he jumps back into the fight to protect them. But it is from there that whenever the monsters or the humans start to lose ground, that the other races would come to save them. Humans saving monsters, monsters saving humans. And as the battle raged on, Diaby looked from above, asking, what is going on? The humans and apostles are working together. The apostles are already an abomination on the world, and yet the humans are choosing to fight alongside them. While the humans and monsters alike are killed off, the pontiff stands behind everyone, trying to take in exactly what he is seeing. His chest begins to slightly hurt, but what they are witnessing is chaos. Vigorous and total chaos. Up in front of them, the man leading in this new world is Griffith. And just as Griffith charges forward, the sky begins to darken and Ganishka starts to move one of his massive legs. The force of the step knocks Griffith's forces back, but through the dust, something shoots out. Everyone looks up to see the giant wings of Zod flap open, and riding atop of him is Griffith. Ganishka's arms start to lash out, attempting to bring the two of them down, but Zod dodges the attacks, giving Griffith the opening that he needs to land. Once the two of them are on top, Griffith steps down onto Ganishka's body, and he begins walking toward his center. And what he finds is the last remaining bit of Ganishka's human form. It is at that time that his mind begins to spin, seeing reflections of his own past. Growing up in a royal family, he was the one to take the throne of the empire when he came of age. However, his mother didn't want him to become emperor. She wanted his younger brother to do so. So in an attempt to stop Ganishka from ever getting a chance to take the throne, she poisoned him. But the poison didn't kill him, and in turn, he killed the brother that his mother wanted to succeed. After seeing what happened to his younger brother, his mother threw herself off a balcony to kill herself, unable to live with what was about to come next. And later, as he grew older, he could see the emperor was suspicious and fearful of him, and decided to use that to his advantage. One day, while the emperor was out, Ganishka and an assassin shot a poisoned bolt into the emperor's elephant, causing it to rampage and throw the emperor off of its back. The fall killed the emperor, and to make sure that none of this got out, Ganishka then killed the assassin who had helped him. Time went on, and Ganishka became the emperor of the Kushan Empire. But that wasn't enough. He wanted more. He then used his powers to instill fear into those who opposed him, and that meant that he needed to lead wars against those who fought back. Wanting to make sure that someone was there to take over when he was gone, he then wed a woman and had a child. But what would happen if the child would come after him just as he did with the previous emperor? Time passed, and that fear came to life when his son attempted to take his life by trying to poison him. His son then ordered the guards to kill him, and as the spears pierced his flesh, he reached out for anything that he could grab, and that's when his hand found an odd-shaped stone, a behelit, and with it, he gained the power he needed to live on by sacrificing his own son. It was then that his world started to fade to darkness, and as Ganishka tries to open up his eyes now, it's not darkness that he sees, but rather a bright and dazzling light. And just then a hand reached out. His vision begins to focus, and he sees Griffith in his femto form, continuing to reach down. Ganishka closes his eyes, ready to accept his defeat, and that's when there's a tearing in the very time and space that they are located in. A sword with many eyes and faces, the sword of Akatushin, rips a hole into existence, and from it the Skull Knight steps out, holding his sword before Griffith. Zod slams his arm down into where the Skull Knight was standing, and as he looks up, he sees the Skull Knight has already evaded his attack. Griffith then says that it must be the Skull Knight, the one who would hunt down the God Hand at the vortex of time. Taking the fissure into time and space, Griffith goes on stating that the strike could reach beyond the depths of the realm of the dead. The fissure is then placed down onto Ganishka's face, splitting him open, and Griffith calls out that the door has been opened. Suddenly, the small tear grows in size, reaching from one side of Ganishka to the other. Shadows then begin to start to come out of it, pulling the hole wider, and then there's a shining light. The creatures begin to disintegrate, leaving the humans to believe the battle is over, and the darkness surrounding his head begins to fade, and with it, a brilliant light washes over the field. His body is becoming a portal to the astral world, and that portal is taking everyone with it. There's a strange silence that comes over the world, but everyone far and wide can feel its effects. The light that travels to the furthest reaches of the world, including those at sea. And with that light, there are other creatures that come with it. And in the forest, a giant Hydra monster begins to attack the unicorn. Some of the local farmers watch as the creature slithers towards them, and with no choice, they begin to run. But what's more than that, it's not only a Hydra, but a pack of harpies that is flying closely behind. All of the creatures in the astral world begin to come to life. Things that weren't there before, now suddenly having form. Dragons, trolls, spirits, goblins, the undead, everything. Ganishka's light has brought forth a world that would give those without physical form a body which they can create, including the God Hand. The world around everyone is transformed, and what has become is what they wished for: Fantasia. Ganishka begins to shine brighter as his arms reach out and they start to take the form of a tree. And everyone looks around at the new land. Where once Wyndham Castle was is now a new, bigger castle. Pontiff steps forward stating that this is the new capital of the world, the seat of the Hawk. This city will be called Falconia. Everyone looks up into the sky to see Zod flying, holding in his hand Griffith. They all look at Griffith and he holds his arms out, pointing towards to his new city. Everyone on the ground begins to run towards it, laughing and cheering along the way. Griffith's dream has finally come to light. He has finally claimed his own castle, and with it, a new nation is born. That is where we're going to be leaving you. I hope to see you guys here next week. Subscribe to get more Berserk.